In this video, we'll take a look at working with action attributes. Action attributes are the properties associated with the decoration or presentation information of the action on the form. Action defaults allow you to centralize these attributes of the action, such as the text and the image. Action attributes' order of precedence is that at first we'll get the information for the action from the global default file, which is a 4AD file. Then it will get information from the form's action defaults section. And then last, or the highest level of precedence, would be the attribute set for an individual element on the form. Now you can set action attributes by, again, individual element or by using defaults. Here, for this particular action, the word new and the image is being set up in the top menu for the form. And if we look at the top menu, we see that the cust append action has the text of new. However, the image information is blank, as well as the comment information is blank. So that's being picked up somewhere else. The action default section of the form may also have action attributes set. So looking at the action cust append again, but now at the action default section of the form, we can see that the text is not set because that's been set on the individual element, but the image and the comment have been set here. Now you may also find action defaults set at the 4AD in the 4AD file. Here's what an action default file looks like. It's an XML file that is loaded at runtime, and each of the actions that you want to have associated with attributes in this file are listed with the name attribute, and then the various attributes that may be set up. So for example, the text, the validation, the accelerator name or names, the comment, whether or not it should appear in the context menu, which is the right-click menu when the user right-clicks on the program, and whether or not this particular action should have a default view if no action view is available in the form. So an action default file, again, can be modified, extended, and used to set a global settings for all your actions. Now the action default file is loaded automatically if you're simply using the default file, which is in the fgldir lib directory, but you can overwrite that global default 4AD by loading your own specific 4AD file. And to do that, you simply make a call to the UI interface load action defaults method and pass in the name of the 4AD file that you're using. Now this method will look in the current directory as well as search the dbpath environment variable for that particular file. Now the action default section of the form can also be loaded at runtime with XML. And to do that, you would use the load action defaults file and load it at the form level. So you'd have to first reference the form, and then you could use this load action defaults method. So in summary, action defaults are simply a way to centralize attributes of actions. Attributes of actions can be set in a global default file, in an action default section, or set at the individual element of on the form. Let's take a look at an example of using action attributes and how they're applied, whether they're in the global default 4AD file, defined in the form's action default file, or defined for the individual action view. Here in this example, you can see we have two action views associated with the close action up here in the toolbar, as well as a button on the form. Now if we take a look at the form, we can see that the button itself does not have any text or image or comment values specified, nor does the option in the toolbar for the close action. Instead, they simply have just the name close and no other attributes are set. If we open the 4AD file, or the global action default file that's being used for the program, we can see for the close action, here in gray, that the text and the image have been changed or set. Now, if we go to the Forms Action Default section and we add an action to this section, and the action that we're setting here is close, we're specifying that for this form we want to have some different information. So let's do close all in capital letters, and let's select a different image. And we'll just grab a calculator image. All right, so we're going to save this and recompile the form. And now when we run this, we'll see that both of our action views have taken on the values from the form-specific action defaults. Now let's go ahead and make a change to this individual button and specifically set this individual button's properties and see the effect. So I'm going to select that individual button in the form, and I'm going to set its text to new text, and I'm going to choose a different image. And now you'll notice on the form that it's being represented with that information because it's form specific, widget specific. Now when we execute the program, we can see the difference. See that the close action here is getting action attributes from the form's action default settings, and this individual button is getting individual property settings on the widget level, and so it takes precedence over those action defaults.